bounce.
I'm just kidding.
That took an L.
That's a good one.
Very rude.
Wait, the who?
All right, let's move on.
All right. So, you guys all set? You ready?
Yeah.
You say so.
Here we go. Let me bring this closer to me. With the help of Butterbell, the undead pixie, you track down the scientist known as Dr. Franz Kessler, who was using Born of the Thunder as a battery in his lab. You defeated Dr. Kessler's Iron Guardian, then confronted him. You learn that Dr. Kessler traded away some kind of mirror to the Knock-Knocks in exchange for Born of the Thunder. But now that Killen's reflection has been killed, you hope it's the last you have to deal with any special mirrors altogether. You made a deal with Dr. Kessler to spare his life in exchange for Born of the Thunder alive, as well as an unknown item that was given to Butterbell to help in the Pixie's efforts against Perrin Potts. Upon retrieving Born of the Thunder, you discovered that his wings and his lightning powers were gone. As you promised, you traveled with Butterbell back to the home of his kinsfolk so that you could hear the plight of his people. However, upon arriving, you were swarmed by many undead pixies who were not at all happy with Butterbell for bringing you along. In the midst of their arguments, a pixie woman with a skeletal face arrived, decked in gleaming metallic armor and a crown helm signifying royalty. Butterbell identified the woman as Queen Clover. The four of you look around at the swarm of tiny pixies, each no taller than 6 inches, save for the queen. More have joined to surround you. 30, 40, perhaps more. The flesh of some have rotted away more than others, but each is undeniably undead. Although there were strong words a few moments ago, the queen's arrival has brought with it a hushed reverence and anxious anticipation of what might happen next. Queen Clover's jaw does not move, but you hear the magical projection of her words emanate throughout this clearing. Against my wishes, you have seen fit to bring others into our home. Since I know that you are aware of the gravity of this transgression, I can only assume that the death rot has reached your brain, Butterbell. Butterbell shakes his head. No, my queen, my faculties remain. I have come. Silence, says Queen Clover. Do not bring further shame to this place through the entrenchment of your missteps. You have made your desires known many times before now, and yet when I spoke against your plan, you enacted it regardless. If you are to speak, speak only this answer. Are you aware of what our customs demand of you now? Butterbell pauses, but does not break eye contact with her. I do. And you submit of your own free will to this punishment? I do, my queen. Very well. Because of this, I will allow you to make a case for these strangers. I would prefer to spare you some honor by not having outsiders killed in the same day as your execution. Butterbell flies a bit higher until he's hovering in just ahead of each of you and speaking to the whole crowd. I knew that if I brought them back here, it would likely end in my death, but I'm willing to face that fate because I know that we can end this feud, and I know that we can do it before the sun even rises. These are no ordinary outsiders. I personally witnessed them destroy the scientist's Iron Guardian. They are warriors just as we are. One of the pixies calls out from the crowd, Treachery! They are not like us! And this is suddenly met by howls and shouts of agreement. The ruckus grows in intensity as Butterbell suddenly shouts loudly over all the noise. Who would want to be? A hush of mortified astonishment washes over the pixies, and you can see growing anger in their undead eyes. Butterbell continues. We are like this because of the betrayer. And my queen, I understand why you made your order, but look around us. How can our future be secured if we rot before we can ever see it? Queen Clover waits a moment and speaks. I have given you a chance to free these strangers, and yet you continue to suggest that they should be used for this mission. Butterbell nods. Queen Clover pauses again. I will allow them to speak for themselves. Each of you, tell me why you have agreed to come here.
I bow and say, Queen Clover, Butterbell here has told us of your plight. We see it on his skin and his face and bones as well. We're here to help. Butterbell is helped us in rescuing one of our dear friends, and we would wish to return the favor by helping you.
He examines and clearly sees that Born of the Thunder is the most emaciated and wearied of all of you. So this is transactional for you.
I'm sorry. I have a child locked in a bathroom upstairs. I will be right
Go take
back.
care of that.
Is this part of the game?
Is this lore we didn't know about?
Should tell them there's an easy way to unlock inside doors from the outside.
Butter knife.
This is a learning experience for everyone involved in this.
I one time picked a what's the lock called? The deadbolt.
Mhm.
And picked a deadbolt lock with a butter knife one time.
Nice.
Nice. So
Shouldn't be easy.
most
but it is.
interior door houses now are built with safety locks where on the outside there's either a little tiny pinhole or a little slot, and all you have to do is enter something into it and turn, and you can unlock a door. So really, if anybody knows about those and you have safety locks in your house specifically for children, it's anybody in your house can get into any room. Yeah.
And now you know.
Yeah. So
The more you know.
Luminous. He's Osint gave his answer. The queen also looks to you. And what of you? Why have you come here?
The help. I'm with this guy.
Alright. And we'll wait for Harris.
So when it's just like, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here.
Luminous is like, I don't know what's happened this whole
I got
time.
dragged into this.
Hey, you got out of the bathroom.
Hey. You did
That's
it.
her room. The doorknob fell off of her door.
Oh,
Come out.
That's an issue.
That was fun.
That is an issue. If you ever Hey,
hi.
how are you doing, Skylar?
Hey.
Good. If you ever need to open one of your doors from the inside, the little pinpoint on your interior doors or the slot in your interior doors, you can just put something in and turn it and you can unlock it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had to... Junie is locking herself into rooms now, so...
We've
Alright.
been there.
So,
I mean, no, that's awful.
Killen, the queen turns to you. And what of you? Are you simply with him, or do you have your own reasons for being here as well?
As Osint said, we owe Butterbell a great debt for helping us to save our friend and companion. Even more than the others, I'm grateful because he is like a brother to me, and I am greatly in your debt.
Curious that such a disparate band of folk of different lineages has gotten together so well for this.
Just as
I have
shocked as
heard-
you.
I have heard these strangers' words, and I have heard yours, Butterbell. Nonetheless, this is the business of our people, and even if we bring warriors along, we cannot enter into the glade, and pots cannot be brought out of it. The dust we must retrieve will be no use to us if he dies before we can take it. Butterbell says, "About that, my queen." And from inside his tunic, he produces a metal cylindrical object about 1 inch long. As I told you, these strangers defeated the Iron Guardian. They also infiltrated his base to save their ally, and while I was there, I made a demand of my own. Queen Clover walks quickly forward as the pixies disperse from her path, and she snatches this object in her gauntlet, and examines it closely. Is this what I think it is? And Butterbell nods. It looks like he crafted it after all, probably hoping we would be able to come back for the trade someday. The queen is fixated on this object for a few moments before turning back to Butterbell. You have done well, but you know that the customs must be upheld. Butterbell nods. I do. The only request is that you give me this mercy. Let us go to the Betrayer's Glade tonight so that I can see the restoration of our people before my life is taken. The Queen nods. This mercy is granted to you. And she then turns to the rest of you. With this device, we can enter into the glade and take back what is ours. The help you have given to Butterbell is, it seems, invaluable. I can ask no more of you, but I will allow you this honor. You may join us if it pleases you, and witness the demise of Parent Potts. What say you?
That is why we are here, but it comes as a surprise that Butterbell will have to suffer death because of it. This was not made aware to us.
These are our customs. I suspect you have some that would be unusual to me. And Butterbell looks at each of you and says, this is something I knew would happen. It's something I'm willing to do. You see, our customs are not arbitrary things. Our relationship with the pixie dust, if it is to work for our purposes, requires that we fulfill an ancient bond. Our customs must be upheld if we are to continue to use it as we need it. This is the way of some Fae. If we fail to uphold these customs, the entire tribe could lose any connection to the pixie dust.
Well, then you've made a great sacrifice for your people.
This is the way.
This is the way.
So, what will it be?
Whoop, whoop.
So, do you guys agree? He says, allow us just a moment to gather our allies, gather our warriors together. And so she and the rest of this colony of pixies, undead pixies, begin to gather together and prepare for this war, gathering up arms and preparing to head out. As this is happening, Butterbell is around near you and preparing his mind for what's happening next. Do you want to do anything in particular as these preparations are made?
I just bow to him.
I think we should... I'm going to use my plan mastery to go ahead and scheme with some of the leaders of the pixies to further enhance our goals here.
Okay. You determine in the process of this that the leadership is a just Queen Clover. They seem to have, and it's a dictatorship, it seems, but she's more of a, well, it's more of a monarch, where she has complete power with herself, and is sort of considered not only the warrior queen of these people, but also any, you get the sense that she is the one that people also approach for matters of wisdom and advice as well. But in doing so, you were able to sort of collect your thoughts with her and sort of some of the stronger warriors in this grouping.
You haven't talked.
So,
Okay.
and in doing so, you essentially learn that their plan really is to swarm this thing, this device, swarm the glade in preparation. But in the process of learning about this plan, you realize that this device is called a chthonic signal disruptor. And one of the things she does with it is she takes the little end cap off, and it has a needle in it, and she jams it into her neck, and she explains, this will disrupt the signal, the magical signal that emanates from undead things, so that the item that prevents us from entering into his grove will not be able to have an effect on me. It hides the magical signal emanated by undead creatures. And yeah, also, hey Skylar, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to do me a favor. There's going to be one very special warrior pixie in this group. These are like zombie fairies. And
Fairy.
I would like you to tell me, what is this zombie fairy's name? You can name it after like a flower or a tree or anything you want. Or an animal.
Clover.
What is it?
Clover.
Is it Clover?
Yeah.
Clover.
Okay. So we're gonna say this one's called Little Clover. And
the queen is also Queen Clover. So this one's gonna be Little Clover.
All right.
It's like her little sister, I would go with.
Yeah, so this one actually, this is a no actual lineage relation for a very specific reason, but they but this one is called Little Clover because she looks so much like the queen. So can you tell me what kind of weapon Little Clover has? Like, is it a sword or a spear?
What does she fight with? You can make it up. That's part of this game. We can make up stuff about the characters.
You just got to make it up. Or I can give you two choices if you want.
Yeah, I'm going to give you some choices. Yeah.
Okay. All right. She can either have a like a blow dart. Do you know what that is?
No.
So it's like a straw that you blow little darts and you shoot people with it.
Or she can carry around two little swords with her.
Two little swords or a little straw that she blows darts at people with.
Okay, two little swords?
Blow dart?
Oh.
Oh,
two little swords.
Okay.
All right, cool. And I want you to tell me, what is her attitude? Is she generally happy or angry or sad, or what does she feel like most of the time? Okay, so she's a really happy little warrior zombie fairy. Okay, so Little Clover sort of floats into this crowd, and
Little Clover part of the story.
And she's much smaller than any of the other fairies, but she really wants to be involved in a battle that's happening in a little bit. So I'm going to let you play the part of Little Clover. Are you ready? Okay. The queen comes up to you, this queen zombie fairy. This is a warrior queen. She's a fighter and a soldier kind of person. And she is much bigger than you. You're like maybe 3 inches tall.
This tall.
And the queen can grow into a full-sized person. And she looks at you and says, "Ah, Little Clover, are you prepared to go to war for your people?"
Are you ready to fight for your people? Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
I suspected that you might be, but I have something more important that I need you to do. Much more important.
He said he's got something he needs you to do.
While we are going out there, somebody is going to have to watch and protect our colony here. And most of us are going to be gone. This would be a very important duty. I need somebody I can trust. Would you be willing to? Very well. So I would like you to, as you prepare the defenses of your home, roll that dice for me.
Can you roll that purple dice I just gave you? Mm-hmm. Oh. There we go. Ooh, tell him what number that is.
Okay. So as you get ready for all of this, you know that you are going to be the best defender of your home that anyone's ever seen. And you put a lot of thorny vines all over the place to make sure that nobody can get in without getting hurt, so that you're protecting your area from any outsiders. And you do it so well that Queen Clover says, "Thank you for your assistance. As you stay here and protect this place, I want to leave you with a title. You are Little Clover, Defender defender of the colony, and guardian of the people. Do you accept your title?
I like it.
Very good. Thank you for your service, little Clover. All right.
Good job.
So as the rest of you...
Ready to go back to bed? Alright, I'm gonna set a timer, okay? You got 3 more minutes, okay? Alright, you're defending the place, and we're gonna go off to battle. Since you just defended the place, alright? Sound good? Alright.
The rest of you gather together, and with the queen leading you, head out into the direction of Potts's glade. Along the way, it is night. It is still dark. You are being enshrouded by the power, the magical emanations of these pixies that sort of shroud you in a mystical shadow and keeps you from making any noise that goes out of the aura. They guide you all through the jungle and paths that are unfamiliar to you. You didn't come through these paths, but you were going through a new area. You know that if you would like to talk in the meantime, you can. If you'd like to engage in any particular way, you can. This is your last opportunity for dialogue on your way there. Born of the Thunder is with you. And he's sweating a lot. He's still, it seems like every movement takes him some effort. So eventually he asks you, Killen, he says, "Brother, do you mind if I might get a ride for the rest of this journey?"
Of course, yeah. And here, let me also give you this. And I use Totem of Nature's Balm, and I create a totem for him to aid with his healing.
Okay. You conjure this totem in your hand and hand it to him so that he can remain sort of steadfast. And he says, "As much as I would like to see what I'm still capable of doing, if a battle erupts, I think I'll stay out of it for now. I don't know what I'll be able to do in the meantime."
I understand.
I'm going to have to, when we get back to the cave, assuming that we make it, been thinking I'm going to have to talk about potential change in my position, my title. I won't be able to be one of the great shamans anymore for our people. Not in the meantime, at least. If there is some way for me to return to my former power, maybe that can change, but Speaks to the Mountain will have to take that burden.
I have always felt that the position of the great shaman had much more to do with the shaman's wisdom than it did any inherent power that they have.
Yes, but consider the lack of wisdom that put me in this position. Not the removal of my powers, but the undeserving nature of what made me go out in the first place in search of some way to restore the power I was losing.
Wisdom is wise, brother. It's not perfect.
Well said. Now perhaps you should be the shaman, although you just got the title of champion, so we haven't even thrown you that party yet.
I can't wait for a day where we can celebrate instead of being in this forsaken jungle.
Agreed. Luminous, you are traveling near a handful of these pixies, and as you hear
Night.
good night. You hear two of them talking with each other, kind of in hushed tones. And as you do, you hear one of them say, "Yeah, she keeps talking about customs, but does it even matter at this point? I mean, even the customs that her mother didn't uphold, that she had to try to uphold, and she's not even really fully one of us, is she? And the other one says, these are our ways. We have to do this. This is the plan going forward. And the other whispers back, you realize what's going to happen to all of us if we succeed. And they, one of them sort of shushes the other as they look around and says, we've got too many ears here right now.
Can I roll to see if they can make it look like I'm not looking at them at all and they keep talking?
Yeah. Do since this is sort of manipulating with your interactive behavior, do a spirit roll for this.
Yeah, I got a 1. They know I'm watching.
You want to re-roll it?
Luminous is staring daggers right at them.
Yeah, I'll roll another 1.
Okay.
I got a 4.
Okay. You feel like you do a pretty good job of sort of distancing yourself a little bit to allow them some room, but you're listening very carefully. And you hear, just think about it. If you had to go into a situation like this, would you even be able to uphold your end of the deal? I know what he's done to us, but they have a connection that none of us have with Potts. And the other says, I think you know better than anyone that after what he did, she tried in the past to rekindle that connection. But that man has never been a father to her.
What?
She says, well, exactly my point. When we all suffered the plague that he brought upon our people, the only reason she had any of that power left to do what she did is because she's only half pixie. That's not in our customs, is it?
Dun dun dun. Potts was the king of the pixies. Yeah, I don't know what to do with this information.
No worries.
I'm just gonna hold it to
I'm
myself.
not gonna do anything with this information.
I mean, right now I'm gonna hold
Just
it to
remember it.
myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna look over. Because how far am I away from Osin or Killian?
You can be fairly close.
Our last few days have been so convoluted as it is. I don't have time to get into the drama of pixie politics right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna look
Fair.
to Osin. I'm
The
gonna look to
last
Osin.
72 hours have been bonkers.
I don't even know if it's been 72 hours.
We threw an iron giant off a cliff. We killed
I
a
ran
reflection.
into
It was
a
awesome.
giant serpent. I'm exhausted.
I-
We
I-
haven't
I'm-
had a full rest in months.
I was paralyzed a little bit.
Osin almost died with thorns coming out of his chest.
Our friend got turned into a door.
No, that part was great.
I guess I just look at Osin or go over to Osin and tell him what I heard. Not sure what to do with the information, but don't think there's anything we should do with the information as of right now, but just for him to be aware.
All right.
And Killian, I look at him and I just look how distraught he is. I'm like, I'll tell him another time.
And I'm just like, ooh.
Let us not burden Killian with this.
But
This
Killian's got to
information.
deal with with Born of Thunder almost dying, and
Yes,
then
he
I
has
want him
much on
getting
his mind.
betrayed.
I don't know that we can do anything with this information currently. We have made our bed and we have to lie in it. It gets more
I think it's
complicated
just-
by the day, and we don't need to be getting involved. Although I am saddened by the fact that Butterbell is gonna be leaving us.
He's unfortunately taken an L.
He is, but he's doing it.
I love Osin's slow descent into acknowledging the slang.
He's just like, it's just another language at this point.
Yeah, I'm learning the language slowly.
3 days ago, he would have been like, I don't know what an L is.
Yeah, he's just kind of
An
like,
L in this case is a lifelessness.
he's really good at context clues. I don't know how many lives he's taken, but his life is in jeopardy now, and if it weren't for custom, I would be tempted to intervene. But he seems in acceptance of what's going to happen to him. He's sacrificing
sure.
himself for the better of his people, and that I can understand.
Oh, Butterbell.
We don't- No.
Butterbell.
It's a boy.
He's a boy.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
I learned.
you know what? I remember having that conversation. Now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was
real
confused
boy.
last week thinking I thought he was a girl last week. I asked Ocean, I'm like,
One of those androgynous zombies.
I asked Ocean, what do you think that thing is that he showed her? Because I don't think we know what it is.
I don't know that any of us have the magical understanding to grasp.
Can I roll to see if I have an idea of what it is?
Well, so it was explained to you, Osint, that it's
Yeah,
a
it's a
technological
magical-
device
yeah.
that dampens a signal outgoing to make sure that they can actually go into the glade, or at least one of them can. Your understanding is that the pixies are all going to be around the outside of the glade because they won't be able to go in. Only the queen will be able to enter the glade.
Because she's
Oh, I
half
didn't catch
pixie.
that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's because she's half pixie.
Yeah, I was half focusing on my daughter while you
No,
were
that's all right.
that, so I'm not 100% sure what we're doing.
Well,
right
she
now.
hasn't been able to
Just
go
kinda
into the glade
following along.
before, but because she's undead, and apparently they would describe it to you as there is some item that is inherently painful and oppressive to the undead that is protecting the grove, that the glade that Potts is in.
Okay.
And this is a signal disruptor, a magical signal disruptor, essentially, that the way that the magic works is that it seeks out undead actively, and then it has an effect on them. But this technological device disrupts that signal outgoing from the queen so that she is not identified as undead to the magical device that Potts is using.
Okay, fair enough.
It's called a chthonic signal disruptor.
Depending on how this goes,
What? Can you say that one more time?
Chthonic signal disruptor.
So it's a CSG for short.
Yep, CSD.
CSD, not G. Nice job, Kyle.
Disruptor.
a disruptor. Depending on how this
While we're
goes, it
walking-
seems as if the queen herself is going to enter this realm. Pixies will stay above it. And we might see a showdown for the ages. And based on what you've told me, it seems like a long brewing feud between daughter and father. But we may need to provide
year.
backup.
Put it on one
Alright.
side.
I wonder how long it's actually been going on, because like for them it could have been, for us it could have been like 24 hours.
So they have a lifespan of about 30 years. So and Butterbell would have told you before that it has been many years that they've been dealing with this problem with Potts.
So at least 3. Got it.
Yeah. But this would be the
I'll be
time
right back, guys.
if you want to ask. Sure thing. If you want to ask more specific information to anyone or learn more about this, this is some time. And also, Luminous, did you say you were going to try to do something?
I kind of want to think about that puzzle.
Yeah, I'll give you a moment to think about that. And as we're
I still have
preparing
no
for-
idea what the word is.
As we're preparing for that,
I just didn't know if I could have a letter.
yeah, you can guess one letter, and Osint, be thinking about this. You see an opportunity to speak directly to the queen on your way there if you would like to take it.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, as we go to the reference sheet, let me find it.
I just keep wanting to say the children of the corn, but I know that's not right.
The Corn Titan.
I have no idea what it could be.
All right, so yeah, just basically guess a letter, and if it's in there, I will reveal it.
What
You're-
letters have we used?
The letters right at the top of it are the ones that you've guessed so far.
Yeah,
Up
and I'm
on-
trying to think. And you said it can't. Has this letter been used in Play?
Yeah, yes, all of the letters in this word are somewhere else on here.
Now that we go Val. I think Val's the play.
Is that the word?
Is it a-
The word
is it-
you're guessing?
No, I'm guessing a letter.
Oh,
Guessing a letter.
Is there an O?
ooh.
That was a great guess.
See what I did there?
Very good.
The cool Titan.
You can guess again since you got that one.
Said they're all in here. Could be the good Titan. The part of me really just wants to guess the cool Titan, but I know it's not right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
I think good is a better guess, but I think you should go with a letter maybe.
yeah.
We know it's not a vowel.
It could be. It's definitely not, but you never know. Is there an F?
Nope.
That's disappointing.
Not the food titan.
I was thinking fool.
Oh,
Full
Full
Titan.
Titan.
Howdy D.
Pretty cool
Titan's a
name.
fool.
is that potato?
All right. So you continue
Thanks
to
for that
walk.
resub.
You see an
Appreciate you.
opportunity as you're going along. The queen is leading this group, and she's remaining. She's shrunk down in the meantime to be the size of the rest of the pixies, but you see an opportunity to speak with her if you would like to, Osen.
Queen Clover.
What is it, warrior?
There is.
You don't dress like a warrior.
What is it that I am dressed as?
Your armor is very light, so I suppose it could be, but it's too fanciful to be simply a combatant, unless perhaps your people are particularly wealthy in regards of the attire you wear.
I am a warrior by necessity. I am an advisor by trade.
Oh, I have heard of people that use advisors for monarchs who are not wise enough to make decisions on their own.
Ooh, snap.
Sometimes that is true. I specialize in information. The more information you have, the better you can provide your monarch with the right
It
way
sounds
to
like
go.
you're about to. It sounds like you've come to talk to me because you were expecting some kind of information. Am I correct?
I have information.
And I suppose you also have demands for your information.
No demands. More would love to know what we're getting ourselves into. We have agreed to help you. But there is talk of familial quarreling.
Well, you have heard a lot. It seems you are good at collecting information, or perhaps my people are just not good at keeping pixie business among pixies. Years ago, when my people first arrived to this place, we lived simply, without interaction. This is before my birth. A very young Perrin Potts befriended Queen Weeping Bell, who abandoned the customs of her people in favor of adventuring with Perrin. But this weakened the pixie's magical ability to create pixie dust, the severance of these customs. So, my people began to rely more on the storage of old dust, as well as the few remaining pixies that could produce small amounts. There was friction within the tribe over this, but Queen Weepingbell had orders that allowed Perrin to walk among our people. And in our customs, a queen's orders are law. So when they became a bit older, Queen Weepingbell had a child with Perrin, and that is me. I am a half-pixie, but the magic within me was, of course, not as strong as that of a full-blooded pixie's magic, but it was also not diluted into near-nothingness as the result of broken customs. I am free from that restriction. Or I was before I became this. I was the source of the pixie's dust for the entire clan during these times. Queen Weepingbell, my mother, eventually died of natural age for our people. And Potts destabilized. He started to steal pixie dust to numb the pain, but this aged him rapidly due to improper use. See, the way that you use pixie dust, if you are not in the right mindset, it will destroy you. You must be in the right mindset, or you will have a terrible time with it. His fear of growing up and dying affected the way that the dust affected him. And the customs that were in place for my mother required that someone of my mother's lineage take the throne, and I was her only child. But since I was not old enough to lead and give orders, the Queen's orders remained in effect. We were bound by our customs to allow Perrin to walk among us. However, my people found a loophole around that order by simply moving the colony and hiding from him. And
Awesome,
yet,
Potato. That sounds really
somehow
cool.
against all logic, Potts continued to find us, as if he could hone in on us. And he was in search of more dust, and anytime he got close to us, he would find a way to steal our reserves that I had made for our people. I grew much older, and I attempted many times to have a relationship with my father, but I eventually realized that he would not change. Eventually, one of Potts' disruptive visits resulted in him finding the corpse of my mother, and he used the power to try to bring her back. And as you might have guessed, that is the result. The resulting action of that is that we were plagued by this undeath plague. It affected only those with pixie blood. And as a result of the plague, pixies could no longer make any pixie dust. This undeath prevents it. All we had were the reserves that I had made. I gave up on my father and made a new order that he was to be executed because I had come of age and I could make that order. So the dust in his body can be returned to our people. We have devised a way in which we can reverse this undead plague. If only we get the rest of the dust. His body contains what we need.
I certainly have no love in my heart for a man with no love for his daughter. I appreciate you being forthcoming with us. Helps us to justify what we're about to do.
I wish that I could have had a relationship with my father. But my mother's indiscretions brought upon the entire colony griefs that we have never known the likes of. And now it is time to make it right. If my people are to have a future, we must secure it, as Butterbell said, before we rot away. This is the only way. And we must do it according to our customs, or else any dust that we receive out of his body would be of no use to us.
I understand.
Butterbell is a fine scout and a good member of our clan. His sacrifice will not be forgotten. And you notice something in just the slightest movements of her body language that you think you might be able to pick up some information on if you would like to make a fairly difficult spirit roll.
Yes, I would. And I'm gonna re-roll that. Wait, hold on. Do I have... I literally have no spirit left.
Oh.
So we haven't rested.
All right.
So
what was your roll?
It was a 1.
Can I give him some of my spirit?
I'll
give myself.
I'll let you sort of aid just by letting him roll one more time as if you were using the help action.
You can do it, bud.
It's a 5.
It was just the encouragement he needed.
When she says his sacrifice will not be forgotten, you get the sense that she's a little concerned with not just his sacrifice, but more sacrifices that are going to have to be made.
Yikes.
Hopefully she doesn't mean us.
All right.
And if she did, we'll figure it out.
You can take a bunch of pixies. All right.
We'll see.
We are nearly upon the glade. We're nearly upon the glade. I will enter into it, and you can enter behind me. We will face him, but I must warn you. For being an old man in appearance, he has a resourceful and criminal nature. He will use every dirty trick in the book to try to defend himself.
Before you go in, with this being mostly your mother's doing, and your wish for a relationship, could there be a way to mend this and still get what your people need?
The only restoration for my people lies in the body of Perrin Potts.
Very well.
Can Osin roll to see if he believes that's the truth or not? Like, if it actually is.
Well, actually, if she's lying, or if she has to roll. But if she really believes that, she doesn't have to roll.
Yeah, so regardless,
I got a 1
you get
anyway.
the sense that she fully believes that altogether. Okay. That's pretty clear to you by now as well. Yeah. So, you get really close to the glade. And she says, the rest of you, warriors, linger around the outside. Stay enshrouded. I will enter into the glade with these strangers among us. Our friends, our allies. So if you go to the owlbear map, I will.
It looks so happy.
Happy little glade.
Born of the Thunder is going to stay out.
Huge news, guys.
What is it?
Me and Killian can walk. There was a chance neither of us would have been able to walk again.
Yep.
I was
We
willing to be
thought
his
there was a
sacrifice.
chance we weren't going to be able to walk again. Apparently, we were just going to be able to walk again all the time anyways.
That's why it was a double deceit.
Alright. You enter into the glade. She grows to her full humanoid size, and you realize now this must be because she is half pixie. She's able to do this.
And it's not an illusion, I'm assuming.
And it's not an
What does she
illusion.
look like again? Do we have
You can look at the reference sheet.
I guess we knew it wasn't an illusion when she was moving things around with...
Right. Yeah, she was like vines were moving with her interaction.
What does she look like when she's not a zombie? Do you have a picture of her?
You've seen her only in this zombified appearance.
I was asking outside of the game.
Oh, I might have a picture of that. Who knows?
Depends on if we win this battle or
yeah. Or if she wins the battle. I don't know what's happening to us.
You enter into this space. What do you do?
I say, Osen, it's your turn to go down again.
I believe the queen
I almost,
will be taking the lead on this.
but she can't. Can she fly? I guess she can
Yeah, she's
fly.
a pixie.
All right.
She's a half pixie.
Perrin,
Yeah.
come out and
are-
see us. We have a reckoning.
I'm glad you called him up here because I don't want to be lowered into a pit by a rope again.
We'll see if he answers the call.
Yeah, give me a second. I have to.
Dylan, you can always, worst case scenario, just stay up here and guard watch.
I'll just use this this emblem.
You don't want to
here.
get lowered again.
I'll watch up here in case.
I'll just
you
use
need
this
to-
emblem to. So out of the illusion, with the stone under his arm, the cloud stone, he floats up through the water here, halfway the illusory water, halfway submerged, cloud stone under his arm. No, good. You brought her here, so now we can take her out. I didn't know this was the way you were going to go about the plan, but I'm pleased to see her here. The queen sort of turns her head just a little bit and eyes each of you. Not sure if that was your plan or if you were there to take out Perrin. They seem to both not know who you're allied with.
I'm more of a neutral kind of guy in this situation. Let them fight themselves.
Does the queen look suspicious?
She doesn't look unconfident, but it's hard to tell because of her skeletal face. She just looks back in case she's waiting. No, in case she's there is the potential here that you could have been doing this to take her out with Perrin.
We're here for a good
I'm
time,
sorry,
not
hey.
a long time.
Remind me what our deal with Perrin was.
We're gonna get him pixie dust.
To
Perrin,
bring him dust. Okay.
yeah, he wanted you to get dust from the pixies, basically to essentially take the pixies out so that he can get whatever dust is remaining that he believes they have.
And then we were gonna get in return is he was gonna teach us how to use the cloud stone. The cloud
Yes.
orb.
Oh, whoops. I memorized most of the pattern anyway.
Hey, good news for us though. It's a win-win. Either we learn how to use the cloud stone, the cloud orb, or whatever happens with the pixies, we'll side with them.
So do you guys give an indicator as to whose side you're on?
I'm 100% letting Osen take the lead on this one.
I call
He's-
Lewis
been
just
talking
kind of
with the
backs
queen.
up and just watches.
Yeah, I call out to Perrin and say, Perrin, the deal has changed. There seems to be more to the story now. And you need to work
I-
out whatever it is that you have going on with the queen.
And I had insurance with you all and everything. I gave you my word. I sent you on. I told you where your friend is. Did you? And I see he's back there beyond the edge of the grove. I bet the others are out here too, aren't they? So you saved your friend because I sent you that direction. I don't have your insurance, by the way.
I was just about to ask.
It got I had to use it, but I
Dude,
can
such
give you
a
something
brilliant-
better. Side with me. I'll teach you how to do the cloud stone. I told you that, didn't I?
You did. But it seems like you can't even keep up half of the bargain if you're using the materials we gave as insurance.
Yeah, he used those like right in front of us, didn't he?
You knew what kind of pressure I was under. If it weren't for these pixies in the first place, I wouldn't be like this.
Then it's time to settle the differences, one way or
Yes,
the
it
other.
is. And Clover says, agreed. It is time to settle our differences, Father. You have stolen from our people, broken the spirit and the very lives of our tribe for too long. I take no pleasure in doing this. I tried to connect with you. I tried to invite you into our homes, and you manipulated my good graces for you. I realized a long time ago that not that you could never change, but you chose never to change.
Terrible person. Or
And Perrin says,
Woodland elf.
Perrin says, "Well, fine. If you think this is the way it's going to have to be, I have everything I need to take out every one of you. So go ahead. Make the first move."
I immediately looking at Osint and seeing him confidently take the queen's side, and recognizing both that there is something more going on than what Perrin has said, and also just being totally done with this mission to come back and get Born of Thunder and just needing to get him home. I shoot Perrin.
Right. So go ahead and just make an attack roll.
That would be a 3.
All right. As he's saying, "Come on, take the first shot, Ben." You shoot, and an arrow goes into his belly, and he's oh, and he disappears down below.
Pansy.
Hey, Osint, could you go and get him?
Certainly.
Or Queen, he's all yours.
Ooh, Osen, I got an idea.
What's that?
I go with you, make them tiny, and we make them tiny. You just grab them, just bring them back up to the end.
And then let the fairies have at him.
I like this idea, and I grab Luminous by the collar of his shirt, and I fly down.
By the scruff of his neck.
Yeah,
Right.
and I fly down.
You grab Luminous, and Clover is coming out with you, and you go over here and start flying this direction. And as you're doing this, you, with the sound not being able to be heard from down below, that doesn't mean you can't feel powerful rushing wind as it's starting to come upward. And I need you to both roll. Actually, I'll have all three of you roll body points, or body skill rolls. Oh, since 4.
I got a 4 as
I'm
well.
way back there. Hold on.
Yeah, sorry, not you, Killen.
The queen.
Okay.
And the queen rolls as well. And out of this area of ground, just a ton of earth in a bunch of pieces flies out. 1 second.
I think you need to talk to the earth and see what's going on.
And you all avoid being launched and hit by these giant pieces of sort of earth that look like they were ripped right out of the ground and thrown up. The bottoms of them are sort of like the bottoms of an island. They sort of have this conical shape. And these land out here. And then Perrin flies back up with the orb glowing in his hands. And you see this faint outline on those pieces of earth there, as it appears that he's using the orb to levitate these pieces of earth.
Ooh.
How much health? He has 1 health point taken away.
Yes, thank you. Let me write that down.
Good
Do
call.
any of y'all have a magic that can get rid of his illusion? That would be super helpful to see what he's throwing or doing.
Right. So, Killen, that was your first shot. You can go ahead and use another action if you would like. You caught me by surprise with the first one, but not anymore.
He rolled a 6, so it's right when he says not anymore.
Not.
I use entangling entrails to like reach out and grab him and pull him out of the pit. and
Okay.
To the edge.
All right. So make your shot.
I'm assuming that's not good.
1.
All right. You shoot right past him. All right. The rest of you, what do you do?
I'm continuing to go downward towards him.
Yeah. So he's floated up out of here.
Oh,
now,
I'm
so
sorry. I thought he just
yeah.
floated the
He came back
earth.
up.
Okay.
He's got the stone under his arm, and he's.
Did I make it like far down, or was I just at the edge?
You were just at the edge. You didn't
Okay.
go down yet.
Then
The plan is, let me
go ahead.
Do you want me to use? I want me to use my transmute character first and see if he can go grab it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that on him.
It's
Make
like
that
it's
roll
like
and die.
it's like a signature wrestling move that you guys do.
What's the roll, Morgan?
All right. So he rolls. He rolls a 6. All right. So
right.
you did not successfully use your ability to shrink him, as you see this sort of warbling magic effect go off of him. But it really, he rolled that with favor for a particular reason. So I'll describe it this way, because he got a 1 and a 6. As you see that, you see that the magic that warbles off and protects him against your assault seems to be coming off of something that's some sort of amulet that he's wearing inside of his tunic that sort of glowed underneath inside these sort of leaf sewn clothes that he has, and there's this sort of bluish yellow mix of energy that glows there on the end of a leather cord.
Man, it'd be a real shame if he got mind controlled and take it taken away from him.
And as that happens, as that pulse happens, you see Queen Clover kind of wince for just a moment there, but then
it's the pixie dust.
But then says, it appears that the scientist has come through. All right, so Osint.
All right. I am going to use my power mind control.
All right. So tell me, does he make a roll?
Yes.
His roll is 3.
Okay, and that means 2 to 4. You control the target during its next turn only. Does that mean I can give him a command now?
Yeah. So since it's during when his turn starts, I'll let you decide. You have one more action before that happens if you want to use it. But remember, if you do,
If I do any damage, right? So I should have done that second.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ready my next turn, but I just kind of silently mind control him.
Okay.
From beneath my cloak.
Unfortunately, Clover takes it away from you.
So Clover sees that you've done something here, but she has this spear in her hand, and yes.
Can Osin use his second action to tell her what he did?
Yeah, I'll let you use your second action to try to intervene if you want.
That would be nice. So I kind of put my arm in front of Clover and say, I have him under my control. Let him be for now.
I'm trusting you, warriors. Advisor. Okay, so she holds on to her turn, but she goes this way. And she also is floating up here.
Nope, never mind. I can't do that. I was gonna do something else, but
yeah, 15. Alright. So now it's his turn, so what do you command him to do.
So
Pots.
So anything that you've seen him do so far, you can try to command him to do.
Pots, toss me that amulet.
He pulls this off, tosses it over, and you catch this. It's like a piece of driftwood on the end of a cord that has some sort of tropical sea-themed things carved into it.
under the
And
sea.
it seems to be broken off of something much larger.
I don it.
I see what you did. All right. You go ahead and put this on, and immediately you feel this sort of eased mellowing over you. And give me just a moment. I'll send this something to your reference sheet so you can see what it does.
Reference sheet or character sheet?
You're the one you're using right now. I'm sending it to Jackson's.
What?
Let's see.
Well, if it was reference sheet, I was going to look at it.
Let's see. Put it. You're using the old one still, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm putting it right above your portion of healing. And
No.
as you do this, you get this glimpse of just ocean sort of wash over you in this moment that puts you at peace. So that's what you have at the moment. And what's described there is not necessarily everything that it's capable of, but these are the ones that you sort of understand right away.
Okay.
All right.
I'm trying to judge the look on Jackson's face right now.
I'm
Hey,
wondering
Ocean.
where he got this.
Luminous, as you watch this thing be tossed across, since you're right there next to Osen, and you see him grab it in his hand and don it on his neck, this is exactly the thing that Professor Guire described to you that could heal Turda. This is exactly... It appears almost exactly as that thing was described to you.
Oh,
All right. So he.
I got some money, Osen.
Dude, I don't know that you do.
I have 15. I have 15 gold in my character sheet still.
All right. So he. I'll say that was one of his actions. What
Chase that
is the
himself.
what is the second action that you control him to do?
He can't hurt himself.
Correct.
Honestly, I thought the amulet was allowing him to float. But I'm
That would
assuming
be
it's the cloud
That's the orb.
cloud orb.
Tell him. Oh, I got it.
Okay. What?
Make him tell us how to use the cloud orb. It's a win-win.
Now, hold up your end of the bargain and tell us how to use the cloud orb.
So he begins the process of describing what you need to do, but it is so complex. And
Just tell me the last part.
involved.
Man and wife. Hey, man and
Give me
wife.
the cliff notes.
and he says,
Whew. That's funny.
imbue your soul, and that's the part he does, and then your connection breaks,
Okay.
and he says, "Huh, Ah! I didn't like that at all. Alright, so Clover, having waited there, decides that she's going to attack first during this round. And
Makes sense.
she goes ahead and thrusts her spear through him.
Mm.
For one attack, and then for their second one, she ends up critically hitting him.
She dead?
And because of the nature of what you did there and taking away all of his ability to restore any of his health, he immediately sort of just is skewered, and his eyes get really wide, and blood starts dripping out of his mouth. And he looks at her, and she's just sort of holding him there on the end of the spear. And he says, "You killed me." Yes,
What's
it appears I have. I should have told you this before. But before this happened to you, you really had a mother's eyes. And he sort of coughs up more blood. She grabs him, leaves the spear in, floats him over here, puts him down. These hovering rocks fall to the ground as the cloud orb falls out of his hand and just rolls away. And she looks over to you, Osen, and says, "Would you mind removing the effect, keeping this field in place? It's harming the undead creatures." And she looks at you and the amulet that you're wearing at the moment. And you know that as you do that, you do get the sense that there is sort of an activation going on right now, where as you are attuned to it just as a result of wearing it, you can sort of focus your mind, if you choose to, and remove this undead ward.
I hold the amulet in my hand and I focus on it intently and close my eyes. And I do the incantation.
Again, endless seas sort of float into your mind easily as you see this, and you focus and cause this ward in this area to dissipate. And this includes the area of the whole kind of just is removed there. Oops, there we go. The illusion is gone. As you see Queen Clover over here, the rest of the pixies all around sort of come a little bit closer, but they keep a little distance. As she says, "If any of you are squeamish, this would be the time to look away."
Luminous looks away.
And she reaches down, pulls Potts' head back, and begins to eat the top of his head.
Oh,
Luminous is glad he looked away.
And
I didn't, so I'm regretting it.
this continues to go on as she's chomping down, and you can hear the squelching and all the cracking of bone and everything. This very fragile elderly bone. And
I look over at the nearest pixie and say, "I saw a man turn into a door this morning, and that was actually worse than this."
and as she does that, she says, She says, I must allow you to all continue now. And she looks to her pixies, and they come over and they swarm him and begin eating the meat of the body.
Is Butterbell in there as well?
He's not at first, but as he sort of floats near to Queen Clover, she nods to him and says, "And you." And he goes forth. And says,
Before
"Thank
he,
you for..."
yeah, before he goes in, I shake his tiny hand. Thank you for all of your help. You've become a great friend, and I would be sorry to see you go.
People have a future because of the three of you. Thank you. She's allowed me this mercy of being able to be involved with this part of the process. I'm going to enjoy my last meal, knowing that the future of this clan is in good hands. And he goes and continues with the rest of them, and it doesn't take them long to do this. The Queen Clover seems... she doesn't have to breathe, but she almost looks like she's, by muscle memory, having a deep sighing moment. And she watches in sort of this ritual practice as they all consume the body until it is nothing but bone is left. And then she says, I thank you all. As we discussed before, and it was determined during the expectations, the council meeting, of the customs and the orders that we should put in place. We all knew that this day would come. And we all know what needs to be done for these latent energies to be coalesced as one. But I will allow Butterbell to be the first. I know that none of us can feel as we have felt before. But make no mistake, I am saddened. I will carry on all of your memories, as I carry on each of you into new flesh. And so Butterbell nods, and you actually think you might actually see a glisten of a joyful tear in his eyes, as if perhaps his tear ducts can work as he comes forward. And the queen puts her head against his tiny little head, and Butterbell flies into her mouth. And then one by one, each of the other pixies begin doing the same. Until finally, she has consumed her entire clan.
Yikes.
But you also see that there's this glow that begins at her fingertips, and it starts to stretch across her body. She looks toward each of you and says, I expect our customs are difficult for you to comprehend. But we knew that if we got enough of these latent energies, especially with the dust that was afforded us by the body of Potts, this new era could begin. A new era in which we will be bound by new customs that do not diminish our effect in the world to make our people thrive. But it will start with me, as I use the remainder of these energies with this dust to do this. Her whole body glows, and it's sort of this bright, shining yellow light envelops her. And if you would like to look at the reference sheet, you see that she changes. The very bottom. And she is no longer undead as a result of all of this, and you know that must be incredibly powerful magic.
She's much better looking now.
Luminous is gonna hit on her.
Just immediately.
No, yeah, he's waiting for a second. He's waiting for the right moment.
In fact, all of you are aware that there is no such thing as true resurrection magic that happens. This is a reversal of an undead plague, which is extremely powerful, so they were certainly not lying about the nature of pixie dust and what it can do. She does this, transforms into this new form. Breathes again for the first time in a very long time. So, now my people can continue. Thanks to you and your help. I thank you, allies of my clan, but now I have no clan. I was a warrior queen, but now I am simply a warrior.
What will you
my
do
clan
now?
will come in time.
What will you do now with your clan having been absorbed to create new life in you?
I will find a way to continue my clan when it is appropriate, but I have something I must finish first. I believe Butterbell, knowing him, must have told you that he has suspected for a long time that Perrin Potts was aided in his efforts to find us, aided in his efforts to do what he did. None of my people believed Butterbell, but I always kept it in the back of my mind that perhaps what he thought he saw was true. Butterbell believed, on more than one occasion as he was scouting, that he saw the Grinning Panther guiding Perrin Potts to us. And as I consider all that has happened, I am inclined to believe that what he saw is true. And what I know about Grammy Grins is that her only interest is tragedy.
She
I'm
sounds
sure what
like the
happened.
worst.
And I'm sure what happened today to my people and what I had to do to restore my people has entertained her greatly. So, you ask me what I will do. I am going to kill Grammy Grins. And if you wish to be a part of it, I will accept your aid.
Luminous, without even thinking, is like, count me in.
She has been, as far as we know, the cause of most of the suffering we've encountered here on the island. It would be good to see her come to justice.
The justice of the blade is merciless. Remember that, because she will try to use any means she can to deceive you, to thwart you, in ways that you are not even realizing you are being thwarted and deceived. This place is no home, but perhaps it could be made into one. I accept your aid, if you are giving it, but I must admit, I am not keen on returning to the grounds of my colony. If you would have me, I would come see what your resources are to understand what kind of warriors you have with you. I do not believe that I can do this alone. If I must, I will. But You have proven yourself faithful to ideas of right and goodness. You did not betray us to Potts, and I suspect that Butterbell would not have even joined up with you if you were not the kinds of people he saw something good in. He could read hearts in ways that few of our kin could.
I miss him already.
Well, he
The
is here.
goat.
In a
Can we have
sense,
a
he
mo-
is here.
Can we have a moment of Can we have a moment of silence for him?
Short rest for Butterbell.
Not a long rest for
yeah.
Butterbell.
We certainly would.
He and the
Accept
rest
you.
of my people are in my flesh.
We certainly would accept your help, and it would be great to have an ally that knows these parts much better than any of us do. And am I safe in assuming that your power has returned and you have access to dust?
I can produce dust. It will take some time. But yes, as a half-pixie, I do not have the full effect of what the dust can do. But that does not mean it is not powerful.
It may prove very useful to aid us in this quest.
It will be necessary. It is something that I believe Grammy Grins is threatened by. I believe it was in her interest to have us tampered as we were.
I bow and say, welcome to the team.
I never got any of your names.
How rude of us. I am Osins.
Was it?
My name's
Ocean
Luminous.
Horizon. Luminous.
That's Killian.
I can't grab Killian.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can't
sorry.
grab my character either.
Oh, I completely forgot that I have to give you guys
I was gonna move over there toward them and introduce myself, but I can't move toward them.
That one back there is Killian.
His legs don't work.
His legs don't work so well.
He ain't got no legs.
Well, here's your problem. You ain't got no legs.
So you all introduce yourselves. And Born of the Thunder introduces himself as well. He says, so, where shall we be going then? We must find a way to your encampment. I assume you have one.
We do. It's located in a cave. It's well guarded as of now. The rest of our people are there.
We open up the scenes here. All right.
Not too far from here, actually.
Oh, that's right now.
Very good. Well, if you are prepared, we might be on our way, but I know the sun is about to rise, and you all seem as if you could use some time to rest. Perhaps it would be worth resting here for now.
It has been quite some time.
I could use a rest. It's been a minute.
All right. So,
Do I still have the sanctuary staff?
I think you left that.
I
Did
left
you leave
the
that, or did you?
gauntlet.
You left the
I
gauntlet.
left the gauntlet.
So yeah, you do have the sanctuary staff. And you can.
Can I do a 10-minute ritual to use do it? So like, and how that works is obviously the sanctuary occupies
Yeah,
a
so
30-foot space. Well hidden from anyone outside of it. You can hear what is happening within a 30-foot radius on the sanctuary, but no characters outside the sanctuary can hear what is happening within.
Yeah.
Any character sleeping within the sanctuary
It's your
gain the
safe
benefit of
space.
sleeping.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
essentially that safe, invisible camp zone in Harry Potter with the one at the end of those movies. Yeah, absolutely. So you guys get your rest. You can get all the
Deathly Hallows Part 1, by the way.
yes, that one. You can get all your power pool, your skill points, all of it back.
Do we have that second cloud orb now?
Yes, now you have another cloud orb. Whoever would like to carry that.
I'd like to just. I don't plan on keeping it, but since I had seen some of the pattern, I want to kind of examine it. But I remember him saying something about giving part of your soul or something at the end there, so I'm not quite doing anything with it yet. I'm just kind of examining it and going over the pattern in my mind.
Yeah, you look over it and figure out, thinking about what you might be able to do. You think with a little more effort and time, you could probably understand how to activate it and bind it to you. It does seem like something that you have to bind your soul to. He said imbue your soul to, which is potentially different. But
Okay.
Potentially.
But because it's a pretty specific words, but he did say that was part of it. But you're sure that somebody at Cryptus with their knowledge of magecraft and everything would absolutely be able to some of your allies would absolutely be able to determine this fairly quickly.
Why haven't we asked them this already with us having another cloud orb?
That's what I was going to ask.
You tell me.
It's a great point.
Yeah, you in general, you know that if you have questions about magical things, you could probably talk to the Cryptusians about it.
Even with my background in Cryptus and my knowledge, I wouldn't know anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like specialized knowledge. Like you're specialized in the acclamation of information, right? Or the acquiring of information. Yeah. So that's sort of your specialty. So no, it would be like something you would have one of the sages look at.
Okay.
But you do have a moment here where, as you're trying to get to sleep, I'll let you choose to guess another letter if you would like on your.
Can Luminous also talk to Osin about that necklace thing?
Yeah. Tell me what you'd like to do first.
I guess I'll guess a letter.
I'm gonna put the pixie in this spot up here.
Where?
There we go. She'll be next to the doctor's portrait. All right. Okay, cool.
Can I guess G?
Incorrect.
Ooh. So it's not food and it's not good.
Depressing. It's definitely cool.
Could be at this point.
The cool giant. It's the O giant. It's just O.
Ooh. The
O.
You're in trouble, giant.
No. I walk over to Osin and ask him about the amulet.
Yes, this. Do I know the origin of it?
You are not familiar with this. You've never seen anything quite like this.
Interesting. Okay.
But you definitely feel a sense that there is a tremendous amount of power. It seems fragmented from whatever it should be.
So the information that I have on my page, I wouldn't be able to tell that. Okay.
Yeah, well, the thing that I sent you just a moment ago, you can tell those things specifically.
But not its origin. Like I wouldn't know where it's from.
Yeah, you don't know where it's from.
All right. So I tell Luminous kind of the effect that I believe it has with its healing. And it's very strong magic.
Luminous breaks down and starts crying and tries to explain to Osint his true reason for being here.
What do you say?
And what is that?
Telling him about his best friend who he caused to become paralyzed, and was told that if he went on this trip that he'd have a chance to find this amulet to try to make it where his friend could be no longer paralyzed.
The feeling I get from this artifact truly could be what you're looking for. And if you wish to use it, I will grant it to you.
Luminous kind of just sitting there crying still, and like kind of agrees, but also is just like doesn't know what to do because he wants it, but he also feels like he doesn't want to take it from Osint just because. If that makes sense.
I take it off and I put it on Luminous.
Luminous, I'm going to put this in your... you're using the new...
I am.
The new one, so I'm going to put that in there for you.
What does that mean, Morgan? What you just said?
Oh, sorry. I'm going to take the description.
No. What you just said to me.
Oh, you just had a... I was correcting your information.
Oh, okay. That's a comment on the... okay.
Yeah. Let's see. So what I'm going to do, Luminous...
No.
You want to put it underneath the information about the Titans? Bottom. With the right area? Or you want to put it underneath the dark stag shield that I keep forgetting I have?
Yeah, I'm going to put it under there. 1 second. Let's see. Merge that.
I need to use that thing at some point because I never remember to use it.
And as I give you this amulet, I say, see that you don't lose it and that we all make it out of here alive, so that you can return to your friend and make things right.
Interesting.
Ain't it?
Yeah.
I feel like we're leaving Harris out, and I want to tell him what it is.
So, out of game, Harris. This is the totem fragment of Dranishka that is like the one that Don John had. Don John came here with a piece of a totem of his people. This is from your other characters. You guys don't know anything about these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't recognize it in character.
He had like a totem.
Up.
It was an amulet that was like a fragment, a wood splinter of a totem, and this is either the same one or a similar one.
So somehow, when he died in that garden, we never recovered that, and it was probably traded off. Somehow, changed hands maybe a couple of times. That's what I'm thinking.
When you guys went to the garden, there was a specific notebook entry that the gardener had that said that he traded it to someone specific. And I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it was told to you. But you guys wouldn't be able to make that connection between that totem and...
That was so long ago.
Yes.
Yeah, we would still have that journal entry, right?
How would that...
You didn't take the journal, I don't think, unless you can...
Dang.
I wrote stuff down, I thought.
Yeah, potentially. Luminous might have, actually. So, regardless, you wouldn't necessarily be making the connection between an amulet that was described there and this one.
Okay.
Because you never knew what that amulet was.
I have a question, though. How does that work, though, if I knew about that? How would I have known about the amulet being on the island? If I came the same time as
that's a good point, because you were told sort of what to look for, but the amulet was not described in the book. You never saw it. But now that I'm thinking about it, there was an instance where you could have seen it. So I would like you... I'll let you do this with favor, and see if you connect these dots. Just make a mind roll. There is one specific instance in which you could have actually seen it.
I got a 5.
Cassiphia, the handmaiden of the Queen of Roses, was wearing something that now, as you're realizing it, you didn't think about it at the time because you had a lot going on. But when you saw her, she was wearing some kind of pendant or amulet. And now that you're piecing this all together, because you were sort of young and fresh and new and just trying to survive, and you'd seen terrible things, you just saw a guy beheaded, all that kind of stuff at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You're realizing that you've seen another amulet that looked almost exactly like this one. So Caesifia has another piece of this. And the journal described the gardener trading away an amulet to keep the peace with the rose things.
But we don't know if it's a different piece.
But yeah, what I'm saying here is that Luminous, visually having seen it at that point, could look at this one and realize that it has like the same kinds of markings and everything. And he's piecing this together and realizing that this was something that was described. It just wasn't hitting his mind at the time that it would have been critical to know that information back then. And now he's piecing it all together.
I share what my thoughts are to the group.
So you're all privy to this knowledge now. And so this amulet that Perrin Potts has had, as long as I don't know where he has gotten such a thing. But it appears that it's lucky you were here to find it. There is another piece, then. And you said it was with the Thorn Dryads.
Is that what you remember, Luminous?
Yes. I realized it when we were getting the blessing from her. After, the gardener went.
Do you guys describe your experiences at the Gallows Tree, and are you willing to inform Queen Clover about that and sort of tell her about your adventures so far?
Luminous is hesitant, so he's not sure. He kind of looks at Killian and Osa and is like, you guys want to say it? Or just leave it be?
I look to Killian because his experience there and with the Tree Titan and everything was more weightier, I guess, for him. And you had a lot of interaction with Caesithia as far as dialogue. If you know what I mean.
Almost all. Yeah, she sucked your blood.
There was a lot of interaction going on.
Yeah, it was.
We're both drinking out of our mason jars here.
Oh, hey, I got one too.
That's funny.
I feel so left out.
Yeah, all you have are Razorback cups.
No.
Oh,
right now it's a 32 ounce just.
It's the shape.
Nalgene.
Mine's
Gen Z mason jar.
48 ounces. So.
Except you're not a Gen Z, but
you say I'm not a Gen Z.
Wait, you're not a Gen Z, right?
I am.
Oh, he is a Gen Z.
You're right on the cutoff, right?
I'm the very first year of Gen Z.
That's right. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
I'm an elder millennial.
So Clover says, if you were at the Gallows Tree, you survived.
Was the Gallows Tree the tree?
The gigantic tree.
The
That
Titan tree.
Yeah.
The one you were very distraught about.
Yes.
That thing has been under.
That I haven't side quested on in a while.
That thing, that region has been under Granny Grimm's control for quite a while.
Yeah,
Yes.
This could be of use to us if you have access.
In what way would it be useful to you?
Now, is she still in control of it? Well, let me ask you. You had access and you escaped. Was this because did you kill the gardener?
Yes.
So nobody is there now to run that show. Or has somebody claimed it?
The Thorn people.
I have very little knowledge of the politics of this place.
From what
So
I
you-
remember, Casithia was
Was it the Thorn Queen? Is that what her name was?
The Queen of Roses.
yeah.
Queen of Roses.
Casithia was kind of the right-hand lady of the Queen of Roses, and once the gardener was out of the way, they're running the show now.
Fascinating. I don't think the Queen of Roses would make such a power play unless she meant to align herself with Granny Grimm's, which is not good for us. No, perhaps not. But I don't think that any alliance between the Queen of Roses and Granny Grimm's would be the kind that was built on trust. If you have access to the area of the galaxy, we could use the crossroads to get there in time. See if we could spend some time among Gisifia or whoever is interacting with that place. I don't know who that is specifically, but I do know of the Queen of Roses. If we can find a way to infiltrate some of the more personal spaces, even the Granny Grimm's region and lair, perhaps. It seems you might have done some footwork that could help us in this endeavor. We would, of course, have to remove her foot soldiers, the knock-knocks, and perhaps even the grinning stags. The tooth fairies as well.
That's a new one for us.
Well, consider yourself fortunate then. They are somewhat like cousins, but born wrong.
Like kissing cousins.
You could say that. You're not entirely far off, in fact.
So
You certainly want to... I would just suggest that if you use a pillow, you make sure it is safe each night.
oof. So you mean to say that the
You can tell her wheels are sort of turning as she's thinking about all of this.
the garden, if we went back there, we could convince Scythia or the Thorn Queen, the Queen of Roses. We may be able to reach Granny Grimm.
Perhaps. We would want to have some kind of display of power to convince them that we could, in fact, be of use to dethrone Granny Grimm. However, somebody, another powerful entity of some sort, whether the Queen of Roses or someone else, will attempt to usurp that vacuum. If anything, our best choice of action should be determining who we would be satisfied with doing so.
There are many that may want to be leaders.
Well, of course there are. The only way to survive in this place is to either serve a powerful person or to become a powerful person.
Who
I am sorry,
No, go ahead.
out of game. I am struggling to remember
You can always ask me what information.
what.
You need.
Honestly, I can. When you asked if we wanted to recap stuff earlier, I completely forgot about Scythia and the Queen of Roses and our
I'll
conversation.
have to give you guys a
like,
long-term recap at one point.
the beginning of like our
We should have taken
our
better
knowledge
notes.
of Granny Grimm and why we even care about her. Like I have forgotten all of
She's the ruler of the area, and for
Yeah,
for
your
3 days
your
on
first.
the island.
Yeah, you know that the Knock Knocks in particular, if anybody has any vengeance at all, they killed like half of everybody's groups when you 1st got here, and they seem to be immortal, and they are under the control of Granny Grimm, who also has the control of the Dark Stags or the Grinning
And the
Stags,
Panther.
and the Grinning Panther, who apparently infects people with the grinning sickness and also has alliances in various places. And that you've been told either that she is extremely interested in novel acts of violence or novel acts of tragedy, or maybe both. And that everything she does seems to be that she's entertaining herself by manipulating the lives of these people that are trapped on the island.
She sounds like a ball of joy.
So that would be potentially some related to any reasons that you have to say, yeah, this sounds like somebody to get rid of.
Gotcha.
And you personally have been pretty much focused either on the Born of Thunder stuff or the getting the 3 pieces that you can make a weapon to save the tree and alter the nature of what's going on here to potentially, for one, just save the tree in general, but also the potential that could give you some sort of seat of power to do more good. And then, of course, Osint had some direction for what he was trying to do, but some of that is sort of altered a lot at this point. And Luminous, you were here to get that totem, and now you have it. But you can't get off this island until, perhaps, with Thimon's help, you can contact the outside world. So you're sort of in these multiple situations where you got to decide for your own personal relationship with your characters, not necessarily encountered in as it has to do with other people. What does your character want and need to do, and how does that impact the decisions that you're making and the decisions you're making as to where you're going and what you're doing? Because you guys all have a lot of personal investments in different things, but also the collective investment of Granny Grimm's is a problem.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. As
Sure.
I knew who she was. But
It's
I
a lot.
remember our conversation
I
with Cassipia.
I didn't realize-
we made
A
a
lot.
deal with her, right? I don't remember what that was.
Yeah, you guys
With Cassithia?
killed the gardener.
Yep.
So that she
Okay.
could take power in that area, and she basically said, "Your side." So part of the
We
bargain
gave her
was
his head.
you gave. Yeah, she gave you
She
your
did
armor. She gave you. She gave.
We gave her his head.
She gave you your armor, and she gave you all the blessing of the Queen of Roses. And she said you also
rated mature, right?
you also have a potential to have like more of a professional relationship with her at this point too. So that part's sort of up in the air and nebulous, but she seems to be on good terms with you at the moment, which could be to your advantage.
I seem to remember us being like freaked out after she blessed us and then like basically told us that
So she said, Carlos, why don't you stay with me? Because Carlos was with you.
I forgot about Carlos.
And he said, stay with me for a while and we can get to know each other. And he said, I would rather bed the head of this gnome we just decapitated. and she was like, ooh, spicy or something. And then she said,
this is another zinger from Carlos.
She said, now that you've done this and giving a and killed the gardener, Granny Grimm's is going to be after you. So
that's what it was.
That was the thing that sort of freaked you out. And she was like, she basically used you
Okay.
to make this happen so that she didn't have to be the bad guy.
That's
so that
right.
she could kind of build an alliance with Granny Grimm's, putting you in Granny Grimm's crosshairs.
Sick. So, yeah, I don't really like her that much.
Yeah. But yeah, so she's kind of a neutral, potentially somebody you could build a professional relationship with here. But yeah.
She's also got the goat's amulet.
She has the other amulet now that you've realized, the other part of it that, and you don't know if you just need the part you have or if you need to combine them, because you know they seem to be fragmented off of the same thing. But either way, it might not hurt to have it.
All right, and one more reminder.
Yes.
Regarding the gallows tree, and specifically my investment in the gallows tree.
Mm-hmm.
My second conversation with my great-grandfather, ancestor guy,
mm-hmm.
I was told to get a number of things. Was that
yes.
like those were the things I needed for some kind of
to build a weapon.
Weapon. Okay, I can't remember if it was a spell or a weapon or what it was.
You only know the specific location of one of these things.
Yeah.
He said a slitherwood tree from the Viperline territory. Yeah. You need a branch from that. Somewhere in a swamp to the west, you need I think it was called a moon crystal or a moonmire crystal, something like that.
Yeah, I've got it written down around here somewhere.
And then you need pure Titan blood that you can find somewhere to the sort of north to northeast area.
Cool.
But yeah, so do you want to express all these things and share any of that information with Clover, or you can tell me like we want to express it all, but don't tell her this information if you want, or you can just tell her nothing.
Well, and that's why I was asking her, why our experience there would be useful to her. I was kind of sounding out.
Yeah, you know that she just wants to kill Granny Grimm.
Yeah, I didn't know if she had some investment in the tree, or it being cut down, or something like that. So I was kind of sounding out her thoughts specifically about the tree.
Yeah, she doesn't seem as invested in the tree. She is invested in the territory being something that is like related to Granny Grimm's interests.
In that case, I'll say thank you again for the recap.
Sure, of course, anytime. I know it's a lot.
Been there. So I kind of relay that if we are going back to the garden area and to take on this Granny Grimm person, I have a special interest in the gallows tree, but I have a couple other stops I need to make before we do that in order to be prepared for what I might face there.
I see.
And I don't remember. Actually, I don't remember if I've told Osen and Luminous all of this.
I don't think you actually shared with them any of that information.
So, Osen and Luminous, you remember I felt a connection of some sort to the tree, and that it was just a child, and I felt compassion for it. I've since spoken to my ancestors about it, and we believe that not only is the tree an innocent of some sort, but it is a descendant of Titans that has been corrupted by the dark fey powers of this place. But it could be, not only is it undeserving of its current status. It could be an aid to us while we're here. And so I've spoken to my ancestors on how to free it from its current condition and help it on its way. That is my hopes for my future on this island.
Perhaps this could be the display of power we need to rally those who wish to see Granny Grim fall.
Sounds as if this might be a particularly powerful weapon. Should we be able to successfully gather the pieces and put it together?
I don't believe we're far from the first thing that I need. The slitherwood trees are just east of us, if I understand the map correctly.
Yes.
I need a branch from a slitherwood tree.
What I know about that area is it is owned and controlled by the Viperlings, who are, in fact, a neutral party here. Somewhat like the scientist that you interacted with. The Viperlings are not Fey, but they are eldritch in nature, from a world in the beyond. A place of illogic, chaos, and inscrutable psionic power. These things look like snakes, but they are not natural animals. Slitherwood trees are organic, reproductive creations that melt the bodies of those who touch them and turn their bodies into egg sacs. The Viperlings themselves inhabit bodies by going into them, crawling in through an orifice, and controlling the body, taking the body from one place to the other. So, it is possible that you have already interacted with Viperlings without realizing that they were Viperlings. They will look like anyone else.
Well, I hate that.
Unlike others, they do not remember memories of the person. They have their own personalities. And they grow larger. The more they do this and grow in power and absorb mental energies of a person, Viperlings will grow quite large. Then they must find larger hosts. They will vie with one another, fight with one another, to try to inhabit one body. But only one can be in a body at a time. So if you wish to not become an egg sac for Viperlings, I can help you. I have enough knowledge of them to tell you what you could do. To gather wood from the tree, I think I might be able to devise a way that we can safely do that as well. Understand that it is not wood. Not truly. Well, it is and it isn't.
I would
Well, I will take all the advice that I can get.
Either we will have to steal
I
wood
don't
from the
want
tree.
anything in any orifices.
very much like to not be turned into an egg
That's my
sac.
rule.
We could either steal it from the tree or try to interact. Again, this is a neutral party. We might be able to make a trade. Sometimes,
What
even
kind
if
of things would they be interested in trading with? Or
bodies,
trading for?
bodies, they are somewhat the mercenaries of this place.
I know a guy. Mike,
Well,
we could trade his body.
the more powerful the body, they might be more interested. In fact,
That dude's not very powerful.
the
so
body
maybe not him.
keeps all of its abilities, its bodily functions and capacities, but none of its mind. So any special abilities that someone has as a result of their species will be useful.
Hey, Osin, how are you feeling about Wart Knuckle right now?
What knuckle has abandoned me? I don't know what to feel.
Or,
But
how do you pronounce his name? Gibjalo?
Gibjalo.
Gibjalo?
Or Orangelo.
Electric Gigolo.
Electric Gigolo. I have sacrificed enough people in my time here. I will leave this up to you. Who you wish to sacrifice for this cause, Killen.
Of course, that is to say that they would even be interested, but if you find a good body, I think they would. Of course, my suggestion would be that we do not do this with just anyone, but somebody who deserves it.
Mike.
You guys don't even have a relationship with Mike at all.
Yeah, we don't even know Mike.
Hey, I heard about Mike being an awful person.
Actually, Mike might be useful.
Heard the rumors.
Tell me, who is this Jello?
Gibjalo was a confidant of mine. He has since abandoned me. And our paths, though connected at first, were separated once a decision was made on my part.
So you had a falling out, and you made a decision that caused him to abandon you.
It's hard to say what decision made him.
But you are
leave.
interested in his demise.
Listen.
I'm interested to see his reasoning behind what he did in leaving.
It sounds like you've all done quite a lot since you've arrived here.
Would the serpents be interested in bodies of reflections?
Hey, Carlos.
Reflections.
Carlos,
You've had interactions with
thank you for the follow.
Yeah, we killed one.
And he also let us know that there were other reflections of some of our friends around.
Ah, interesting. They potentially would be. I'm not certain of the biology or the nature of reflections. I know that the scientist had an item with him. He might still know some things about it. The Mirror of Elkas.
Do we know that yeah, we would know that he traded that, right?
Correct.
From what we've heard and what we understand, that is now in the possession of the Knock-Knocks, as we call them.
Of course it is. She writes out the word Elkas, and
How does she spell that?
and I will write it out for you. She writes it in the dirt. Just a minute. And it is ELKCAHS.
Elkas.
Shackles.
Exactly.
Ooh,
Get a point of morale for figuring that out.
shackle.
Yes. Look, exactly. Backwards it is shackle. This one is a prison. It is of the nature of those creatures. But if he had it, and the Knock-Knocks were after it, it must mean that they either intend, that is, Granny Grimm, intends to imprison something, or there is somebody inside that she wants.
I've been inside that mirror before.
The Mirror of Elkas.
It's not fun. Or I was in a mirror.
There are multiple mirrors. This is not the same as the Mirror Realm mirrors, as I understand it. But
Wow.
this one,
entraps someone specific.
yes, that is as I understand. If she has that, like I said, she's either interested in trapping someone or interested in getting someone out. Either way, that is disturbing. Quite disturbing to know.
How long would it take for her to extract whoever she has in there?
There is no way of knowing. I believe she can move across the island in ways that none of us have the same capacity to do. I am sure that once she has an objective in mind, it does not take her long to accomplish it. Regardless, it's a bit tangential for what we were speaking about before. You need a branch of the Slitherwood tree. Would it be useful to go by your encampment with your people first? Is that somewhere along the way?
It's not far out of the way.
Very good. We can gather the resources to create this weapon. Use that as our display of power to convince some of the other members of leadership in this region to turn on Granny Grimm's or to take action to usurp her throne. But I need to know. Obviously, I will be forthcoming. I intend to enact my people's future by finding a way to create more of my people. That will not be done right away. I do not feel confident that it is the right thing to do until Granny Grimm's is done. I do not intend, nor could I, ensure a future that quickly for my people to take any interest in a throne at this moment myself. But is there anyone among your groups who came here who would be interested or attempt to get in the way of doing such a thing? Say we have someone on the island that we are comfortable taking Granny Grimm's place. Is there anyone among your factions who would have a vested interest in getting in the way of that by taking it for themselves?
Indeed, there may be.
That's just good to know. Can you tell me more?
I know not of his interest in ruling this land, but there is an ancient king among us. Perhaps he would seize the opportunity, given the chance.
Do you think your people have the resources, and those who are loyal to him, to engage with such a large endeavor, just with your people alone?
To stop him or to help him?
Let's say that we were interested in him being the one that was on the throne. Does he have enough power to maintain that during this time of this vacuum of power? Or would he need allies as well?
I know not of his full power, but his potential is vast. There are many that are loyal to him here on the island. Whether or not we outnumber the other side is a different story.
And there is never but one side here. There are many sides simultaneously. And any misstep at any point is an opportunity for others to step in. There are many politics that go on here. But they are not the kind that are made in councils and courtrooms. They are the kind that are made in blood and demands and treachery.
Excuse me.
This is good information for me to have. And I'm afraid I'm also interested in sleeping off the effects of this day. I have a lot to think about. I'm sure we all do. I appreciate your willingness to be forthcoming with me. I shall continue to do the same for you.
We appreciate.
Make no mistake, I am grateful. Abundantly grateful. For the fact that I am no longer slave to Undeath.
We appreciate you willing to be an ally. towards this common goal.
May it be long and prosperous for all of us. And to each of our goals, individually and collectively. So she's preparing to get some rest. Do you guys want to do anything in particular else before getting some rest?
We're kind of just camping out, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, just camping out in that glade.
I go off to the side with Born of the Thunder, and don't start any particularly deep conversation, but in general, just trying to comfort him, knowing what he's gone through. I pull out my pan flute and start playing and cutting up a little bit and offer him my tobacco pipe. And so we're just kind of doing our thing over here just to make the best of the situation that he's going through.
He remains quiet, but he seems to appreciate and enjoy this as he puffs on the pipe. He looks so different with his sinewy, smaller muscles, and it's just so unlike what you've seen. It's like seeing somebody rapidly age almost in some ways. And but he puffs on the pipe here, listens to your music, and as he leans against a tree, looks out into the mist above, where you can barely see a few starlight spots twinkling as they're fading with some of the sunlight that is coming out, because you guys are actually going to be resting a little during the daytime with the sanctuary staff all around you. You're in the dome of it. He says, I wonder if this is part of what my ancestor meant that I would have to go through. I know I've said that before, but it's really been on my mind. Being built up from the lowliest position one can be in to become something more, perhaps. But perhaps becoming something more includes the reality that it will not be magical, or that I might not become magical again or have my abilities that I had before. But even if I don't, from what I was told by my ancestor, even if I continue to be like a human, for instance, or some mortal creature similar to one, devoid of any power, perhaps there is a kind of wisdom in those things that I can learn. You may be right about what you said before, but about wisdom. Thank you for your words, brother.
There are not many humans among the tribes of Titania, but there are good and wise humans throughout the world. Mortal is not the worst thing that could happen.
Indeed. Perhaps I will gain a greater appreciation for aspects of life that I have not had before. They can be useful for those others that we have a responsibility to guide. Let's just hope that the penchant for warfare that mortal people have is not something that comes with the territory of being like this.
Don't lose your spirit. Maybe you have a gift that can show the mortals a better way. Who knows? Maybe this is what is needed for everyone.
Thank you for finding me.
Of course.
I'm going to get some sleep now. Luminous, what are you doing? What is Luminous doing at the moment?
Luminous went straight to sleep. He's tired.
Great. As you sleep, it's not hard at all to get to sleep. You see, you awaken in a dream. Your eyes open, and the sky is bright above you. That's all you see. You're laying back, and this dream is a little unusual because you can almost feel the sensations. You feel warmth, and you feel sand behind your back. And as you look into the sky, you see clouds rolling by. The cyan sky, it's very nice. And you hear the lapping of the shore, of water on the shore. You sit up, you look around, and you're on some kind of long, stretching, eternal shore with a long stretch of just endless ocean in front of you. And out of the ocean, you see a fin sort of rise up a little bit and go back down. You recognize it as a shark fin, but you don't feel any sense of unease or danger. What do you do?
I guess I get a little closer, but don't get in the water.
Okay. You walk a little bit closer. You realize you're barefoot. You're in sort of tattered clothing, and then as you blink and it sort of changes a little bit, you're in just some kind of clothing that's way too big for you. It looks like it's just been sewn together through very large, coarse, fibrous material. And it has little like pieces of driftwood for buttons, things like that. And you see this shape out in the water. And as it gets closer and closer to the point that it's starting to slow down, and it's pretty large, but it's slowing down and it's sort of like looking at you from under the water. You can't see it clearly, but it seems to be sort of watching you. It's maybe 20 feet out. What do you do?
Man, that's a great question. What do I do? I mean, I guess I get a little closer.
Your feet step into the water. You are calf deep. And it remains out there and just sort of waits and watches you.
What would you guys do? Would you go full send?
Doesn't seem like it's a danger.
I guess I'll walk all the way out to it then.
Go a little further. You're dipping down more into this endless ocean until you're halfway submerged. And it gets closer and closer until it's about 10 feet out. And up out of the water, this very large male shark-like man with 4 arms looks at you very closely, looks in each direction, sort of scratches his head with one of these arms and says, "Well, I haven't seen anybody out here since I got here. Oh, save for the one time. You lost?"
I just respond, I guess so. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on at all.
Well, I'm here because I'm dead. I'm getting the sense that you're not. That's a little interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not dead.
Right.
I'm sleeping.
Well, my name's Don John. Oh, yeah.
Bring him back with you.
Oh, you're wearing what? Well, I was wearing that a moment ago. Guess not anymore. Did she talk to you?
At this moment, it clicks, and Luminous explains that this is a different one than what he had.
Did she talk to you? Tell you what's going on here?
I don't know how to respond to that.
You Wait, are you in the island?
Yeah.
You know my brother, Otago?
Yeah, I met him.
Oh, that's why I'm still here. That's what she said. I was supposed to give him a message. Oh, that means I get to go on the other side. All right, hold on. All right. First, you wanted me to say, I'll start with what I wanted to say, and then I'll go on to. I'll start with what she wanted me to say to him, and then after that, we'll circle back around, and hopefully I've got time to say what I wanted to say. So, here you go. He has all the power he needs to do what he needs to do. And maybe the reason he's here is because fate has that in for him. You can say anything like that, really. Just try to encourage him. He's still stuck in a war that he just woke up from, really. I don't know how long it's been. But I need you to do that, please. Just tell him it's going to be alright, helping him along, but also that I love him. And as much as I can, I'll watch after him. And now for the part that I wanted to share. Jackson, what does Don John say that he wants relayed to Otago?
He says, and in case he doesn't believe you that it came from me, tell him my teeth are very sharp, but I'm not very smart.
Luminous, as I just did, chuckle and said, understood.
Well, thank you, mate. I feel it. I'm getting to go on to the great blue beyond. I've been swimming around here for a while. I think you're gonna have to take that on for me now. Alright? You have a good go of it. Watch out for any dogs. And don't get killed, alright? But please, tell the Otago what I told you to tell you. But
Understood.
remember, that is what I told you to tell him, right? So, that's it. The ocean just...
5% of the map.
If that.
I don't even know if it's 10%.
Yeah, it's funny because I can see all the details on the map, but I've got all the rest of it hidden from you. It might be around 5%. You've got.
You know, how many are there total? Like, spots?
Oh, there's too many for me to count right now.
That takes a lot of. I don't want to do it either.
You didn't ask. You didn't ask what Osen was doing at the end.
Yes, tell me what Osen is doing.
So just very quickly.
Yeah.
So he's going to go off to the side and get in a meditative position, and he's about to try to connect with Gibjalo again.
Yes.
And as he begins to reach out, he has a change of heart. And instead he cuts off the connection. And he simply brings out the cloud orb and begins to ponder it.
Under the orb. Alright, as you're looking over the orb, seeing if you might be able to figure this out yourself, you feel that it is very light and airy, even though it looks like stone. It has a texture like glass, and it has all these tiny little etch marks all through it, and spots where there are little interesting shapes all over it. Go ahead and make a mind roll.
It's a 5.
Okay. As you put your fingers on certain shapes, you realize that there's a pattern where if you put your finger on the right spaces simultaneously, they're almost suggesting the shape of fingerprints, actually.
Hey, Brettley,
If you do it in the right
thank you for the follow.
Those spots begin to glow very faintly. And as you realize this, it's like there's a passcode on this thing. So you get that information, and if you want to try to figure out more of how to do it, you can go ahead and make another mind roll. I'm trying to figure out the pattern specifically.
Oof.
Yeah, you spend a while with that, unless you want to reroll it. You are about to rest, so you have that.
Yeah, I'll do one more.
Okay. Okay. You spend some time examining it. You try every pattern you can think of. And finally, it rests on a pattern where you have all your fingers in the right placements. And each one of your fingertips has a piece of this glowing under it. The orb sort of clicks, and two halves of it rotate against each other, and it opens up a little bit. And there is a middle cylindrical part that has an inscription written in Argean, just like that tablet that you saw before, all over the middle of it. But as you were examining this, you realize it's written that way, but with your fingers on this placement, it's like you can see it in your own tongue. And it's just there, visually able to be read. And although it's a lot more specific language than this, it essentially says to speak this incantation to bind your soul into the orb.
Do it.
I think we should end it there.
Okay. We can end it there. All right. Yes, thanks, guys, and you all will get 16 XP.
So that's 215.
Very nice, very nice.
Inching closer to level 7,
Yeah.
little by little.
Very cool.
Which is level 7 again?
320.
320.
Yeah, if you look at your character sheet, Kyle,
Yeah,
since you're using the new one, it says 215 of 320.
Oh, yeah, duh. It's late. I'm gonna blame that, not paying attention to it.
That's all right. Well, thanks for playing, guys. You
Yeah, that was great.
Also, Skylar
suc-
was thrilled that she got to do a little something.
Okay,
so.
awesome, good.
Yeah, that was cool.
And you guys, what you accomplished today was you murdered an old man and you took his stuff.
Claps all
Not
around.
the worst
Team.
thing we've done.
Not the worst thing we've done.
This is what you call teamwork.
Did we leave Mundor?
Yes, he's still a
It's
door.
still out there.
Door is still a door.
Well, Thimmen, basically you left Thimmen with an unconscious barbed woman and Mundor to figure out what to do to get back and hopefully get back to the cave.
We told them we were coming back
morality
eventually.
is shifting
Your-
more and more
Your
gray
morality
as we
has
go
kind of
along.
been like, you thought it was sort of good at the beginning, but you've been very neutral, and you've done some things that are like, yes, we're gonna do this because it's the right thing to do, but also some things were like, this is in our way, and we're gonna go ahead and just get rid of this person. And so if anything, you guys are a neutral party.
It's less this thing's in my way and more. Yes, I know that's wrong, but I can't worry about that right now.
There's too much to worry about.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
yes, I know we left this poor man as a door, but my best friend just got kidnapped.
It's reasonable. You have to make hard choices.
My morality from the beginning, my character's morality has
been
more
pretty questionable.
more
That's fair.
questionable
That's fair.
until I turned someone into a door. So
Jackson's actually on the upslide right now.
yeah, I'm actually getting better.
It's the grading scale that's bringing you there.
Me and Jackson are like meeting in the middle.
Yeah,
I feel like
Luminous has been doing pretty well, I think.
I feel like Luminous is just a happy-go-lucky kid, like in his young 20s, and he's just like going through all this, and he's like, "What?"
a lot of Luminous's stuff is all in his past, and he's sort of
Yeah.
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 I'm
He's
just
very
tired
grounded for
and
being a young
frustrated,
kid.
and nothing is working out, and I'm ready to just.
However, I think you guys are getting to the point where things are starting to get a little headway in your direction in some things,
Yeah.
where
Allegedly.
you killed essentially a villain specifically to you guys and didn't have a lot of trouble with it. You've just made a potentially really powerful ally.
Yeah.
Who's also wanting to travel with you now.
Yeah, screw that. The Peter Pan addict.
And yeah, that was the play on the themes was him wanting his obsession with being young and not dying because of his mate dying. That was the theme that I based on Peter Pan from that, because I realized it was too good not to pass up.
Isn't the original Peter Pan's theory or the story is that Captain Hook and his crew are actually former Lost Boys who lost?
I
that are
think
trying to
that is. I think they did that
stop
with
him
some
from-
movies too.
Hmm.
Yeah, and there's the other, like, if you think about it in a dark way, like, what kind of character takes kids to an island that they never are going to grow up again with somebody that might be killing them?
nice.
So that's the other one. Oh, you got it.
So that
right
original
there.
print.
Jackson,
That'd be
you got me
wild.
there.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
that looked really familiar.
yeah. This
It's
was, I think, my best man's gift from your wedding.
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
haven't
think it
read
is
in years.
a pretty early print of it too.
So if it's early enough, you won't even see like an addition in it. It'll just be like, here's a book. You have to find like other context clues online to figure out when they were made. But
yeah, here's a book. The inscription, because this was a gift from somebody else first. To Mary with much love from Grandpa, July 26, 1954.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I found it in an old
It's,
bookstore.
We have a bunch of old books that have like we got from a dead woman's house, and they have a bunch of well, because Rebecca worked for a property company and she didn't have like any next of kin, so the property company owned the house at that point, and they were like trying to get rid of stuff in it. And so we had the opportunity to go in and get some books, and we found like letters between her and her husband that was in prison for like years. So it was
Mhm.
pretty interesting. And then we found like notes and recipe cards as bookmarks inside these books, and I have a bunch of
Oh
them
wow,
That's
on
cool.
my bookshelf with my old books.
that's awesome. I've been building a collection of antique religious books.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
cool.
really cool.
I love
These
that.
are I've got several from the 1800s, and this is
Man.
I inherited this when my grandpa died.
Oh,
It's
is that?
It's his great grandfather's family Bible
What?
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. From like 1850 or something like that.
Man, if I knew you were into that kind of stuff, I was at a yard sale the other day. But there were 2 Bibles that need to be restored, and they're both early 1800s. But like
Ooh.
literally, they were like $10 a piece.
Yeah, Kyle and
Oh,
I
you
like
should've-
regularly
yeah, you should've
go to the
swiped
yard
that.
But the
sales.
problem was, is like you barely touch them, that thing fell apart.
That's why you
Oh,
put
yeah.
it in
It,
a
like
case,
absolutely
a
needs to be
display
restored.
case.
Mhm.
Yeah, I always look at old books, and a couple of them I've gotten off like Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
When the library will sell their excess stock sometimes, like they'll have sales at the library, and they've got some pretty cool stuff there sometimes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh yeah, I was going to ask you guys, just but we have a chance to talk about this before we go. Is there anything specifically you would like to see in the game, essentially? And I'm going to leave that as broad as possible, but like something that you think, for one, for playtesting purposes, that you can think of it from that perspective, but also it could be like, I would like my character to have something that relates to these experiences, or it could be like, I want to like see if maybe we could do this kind of thing in the game. Whatever it is, just you can either let me know here, or you can just text me about it at any time, and I can see what I can do.
I'm gonna text you because I had a thought before the game while I was looking through class stuff. But an interesting opportunity arose in game tonight that I kind of want to talk to you about.
Okay, cool.
So basically adding a little bit to the multi-classingness of my character.
Yeah.
But I want to talk to you a little bit about that.
Okay,
so,
absolutely.
Morgan, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Because I'm not really sure what I haven't
tomorrow.
looked into it too much, so
Okay.
we could just discuss it then.
This
is my only old book, and it's Josephus's work.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
But I have no idea when it's actually dated. I just know it's pretty old.
That's awesome.
That's a really cool one. I think I saw that when I was at your house last time, and I was like, "No, that's."
Oh, when you were upstairs.
Yeah, when I was upstairs with the Betrayal book from Betrayal at House on the Hill, and I was looking around because I was done reading it.
Yeah, it's in my bookshelf that's behind me over here.
Yeah.
Okay. All of my commentaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have a single Old Testament commentary. It's all New Testament.
And Kyle, the totem fragment of Dranishka that you got, those are just the things it does. There's more specific stuff that it also does that are just sort of discoverable over time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for playing, guys. I really enjoy this, and I enjoy
thank you.
Giving me the
awesome
opportunity to flex some creative muscles here. And
what would you like to see from us?
I don't know, man. I feel like you guys are doing a great job. You are engaging in like the role play aspect of stuff, which I enjoy seeing. But I don't know. I'd have to think about that too. I think you guys are doing everything that I would prefer you to be doing. If I know that like that message I sent the other day about when you look at some of the class features that exist right now, if there's any that sort of pique your interest, that you're like, hey, would you mind focusing on telling me? Would you mind focusing on making sure that we have this one accessible when the new playtest material comes out? Since I'm probably going to have to leave some playtest material on the table, what it'll look like is when I tell you to like, here, make your new characters, it'll probably be a little bit more like, here's some stuff that might not look exactly like you would expect it to look, or not have everything. But if you tell me like, this one's listed as under construction, but I'd really like to know what this one's going to be, I can focus my attention on that one and make sure that I'm doing that stuff too. Speaking of which, what I'll do is pretty soon, probably this week, I'll send you the new material that as it is right now, but it's going to be an active live document that I continue to work on. So I'll do that pretty soon. But yeah, one thing I would like to work on, just that's not so much the nature of the playtest, but the nature of the game itself, is making sure that you guys have reliable information about, like, oh yeah, this is a reminder of where we've been and what we're doing, and maybe like some sort of quest tracking type of thing that gives you that kind of information. That's why I've been telling you from the get-go, like, I'm not getting upset if you guys ask me to remind you about stuff at all, because I know there's a ton of information.
I'm gonna try to start taking more notes.
Yeah, I've noticed you started taking notes in the bottom, which is definitely very good.
Well, I was taking notes, and then a couple times like, and I'll have this written down for you. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So I write down. I've put a little less detail in my recaps at the beginning of the games, because sometimes it's just worked out that way. But I want to make like a story Bible, so to speak, that you guys can refer back to, and I'll probably just make that a referenceable document.
All right.
And it'll have like keywords that you can search and be like, oh, when did this person do this? Or actually, I could make that a clickable keyword thing where people's names or locations and stuff, you can go and find every instance of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But I appreciate you guys playing. You've met so many like characters at this point.
Yeah.
Which is kind of exciting, because like a lot of the newer ones that I've made in more recent history, including ones that you just haven't met yet, that you just had the potential to meet in certain circumstances, but it didn't come up,
Yeah.
are a lot more fleshed out than a lot of the ones. Because when I was first making things, I just basically made a character portrait. I just vaguely described what I wanted, and that was it. And then I based all of everything else upon that. But with these more recent ones, I've had to be really specific, fairly specific, like with the Barbed Queen ? Woman, and it's been interesting to sort of already have some established lore ahead of time that informs who they are by the time they're introduced. I do want to. One of my goals is to engage more with discovery questions at certain points, which I feel like we've done a fairly good job, especially in the beginning, of using them.
Yeah, I like those
to create the lore of what's happening, especially with your backgrounds. Yeah. But sometimes even like creating the lore of who a character is. If I don't have a clear idea of a character, I'll tend to let you use discovery question, or I'll use a discovery question on you to help me determine who that character is. Like on a small scale, even your daughter doing that today. But speaking of which, that's something to note, that little Clover is, as far as anyone knows, still back at the hive. So there's that.
Is she still undead, I assume?
Probably go check on her.
That would be the assumption.
Oh, because she didn't fly into the...
Yeah, I was wondering, because we made that canon, and she's still at the community, is there other pixies there that she was like helping protect, that basically what's her face is now kind of abandoned?
Essentially, you probably would have found it weird that there were no other young pixies around. She seemed to be the youngest, and also they were leaving her alone there as if there was some danger of something terrible happening. So even though they had overwhelming force, so there's the possibility that Clover intentionally left her there so she wouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because when that sort of happened, and it happened that way, and she said young Clover, I had to think about, well, she's not related, all this. So when Skylar sort of helped make her, but then I realized that as I suggested she make her, that I was like, oh no, I don't want to see this terrible thing happen. So
sorry, baby, Morgan killed you last night.
Yeah,
Luminous
saved the younglings.
Luminous was very glad that he turned his head away during that whole process.
Yeah, I knew it was gonna be pretty gruesome, but I was like, yeah. But yeah, if you guys had investigated the hives, they definitely would have been meat hives, like those meat bees.
Yeah.
That I sent you an
Gross.
Instagram video about. I didn't even know about that until I found it after we had played last week and introduced the pixies. I think I described them as looking like paper. They're hives.
Yeah.
Like the paper mulch material. But as soon as I saw that reel, I said, "Well, I know what makes sense for these people."
I'm glad we didn't investigate very, very hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it was also I wanted to. I know that sometimes people into playing a game. So Kyle, since this is one of your first times really playing a TTRPG, I know you've had a little bit of experience, essentially very short experience. One of the things that often happens with people is when they don't have a fully fledged idea of who their character is, sometimes they'll be like, yeah, I like this character, but I'd also be interested in playing something different because it's not quite connecting the way I wanted. So I'm opening it up to all of you. If you ever get to the point where you're like, yeah, I love this character, I like this character, but I'm not really enjoying playing them right now, let me know so we can find a solution. Even if that solution is we'll retire that character to become an NPC so you can play a new one. We can do that. That's always an option.
Cool.
I like killing.
Yeah, I really like all of your characters a lot. I think they're really interesting.
Yeah, there would be the only thing that I would change is like just like maybe change a few things just from now having like more experience. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I feel like the character like with more abilities has gotten better.
Yeah,
like I have abilities that I haven't touched at all, and I'm never going to touch. Like,
yeah,
when am I ever going?
When you guys level up, when you guys level up, I'm going to let you switch out your features.
And yeah, that's what I was planning on doing because like I have one that's elemental minion, but when am I going to use? But I don't know how to use it.
I've been very interested to see you use it, and you never have.
I just have no idea how to use it.
So I can describe real quick to you essentially how this works.
Yeah.
So, the way it's written right now, let me find your elemental minion. You conjure it into an empty space adjacent to you. You choose what it looks like, so you can choose what element it is, what element it's specific, whatever you want. It can switch between elements instantaneously. It has these statistics it specifies. It has 1 life point. Its defense is 3. Anytime you want, you can simultaneously look through its eyesight, even while you're still looking through your own eyesight. So you're controlling it basically on its turns. It can go and do stuff for you. It's like having a familiar. And it is of average size, so it's the same size as you. During your turn, as one of your actions, you can make your minion attack with a simple attack, which any simple attack like that can either be ranged or melee. And then if it dies, every character adjacent to it is at risk of it exploding and causing damage to them, basically. So the minion system is not nearly as complex or intricate, rather, as it's going to be with the new version, which has a lot more details and a lot more specific things that minions have that are different about them. But essentially, you have another character on the field with combat or sometimes even more utility for this version of them, where you have this thing, you can communicate with it, you tell it what to do, you control its actions, and it can you could be like, oh hey, we want to go in this room of traps and we need somebody to walk through, why don't I just send my minion in? Things like that.
Yeah.
Because it's basically just a spirit, and it's not written exclusively like this, but in this world, like, you summon a minion, and if you want, even if it dies, the next time you summon it, you're summoning in the same one. It essentially just is brought to this plane of existence until it returns to its actual plane of existence. But yeah, the rules as they are right now is, even if you have multiple, you could have more than one minion as long as their total levels don't surpass your level.
Yeah. I think my biggest issue with it overall is like it takes 2 actions for it to actually occur.
Right.
And then like during my turn afterwards, if I want to use it, it takes another one of my turns.
Yes, but if you did this before battle, you would just have this guy and it remains with you until it dies. That's the thing. You summon it and it doesn't die until it dies. So that's the other benefit there. So you could just have this guy with you all the time. So it's sort of this is more the way in which it is intended to operate.
Gotcha.
Yep. As with all the other minions, the only one that has the 2 classes right now that have specialized minion uses are the artisan has a very specialized minion through the ability called Golemcraft, or Golemcraft, and Necromancers have a very specialized minion ability that is a little different. Anyway.
Cool.
Thanks for playing, guys.
Thank
Talking
you.
a little bit about the game after. And I'll see Kyle. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And
Jackson, you're feeling better.
what's up?
I am, but Abby is still sick.
Hmm.
I get to take strong antibiotics and she can't.
Yeah.
So
Also,
What did y'all have?
I think I had a really bad cold or a sinus infection.
in 11 and a half hours, it's somebody's birthday.
Oh yeah. It's coming
Have
up
to get
close.
you some donuts. Yeah, have to get you some donuts or something.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, good games, guys. I need to get off of here.
Good games. See you
Say
guys.
goodbye
See ya.
to all the watchers later. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks
See
for
you
watching
later.
actively and non-actively.